I will start with a brief overview of the procedural background of this evaluation. On 12 May 2023, the Commission sent you a request for submission of the 5-year Declaration of Assets and Personal Interests, and on 22 May 2023, you submitted your 5-year declaration. The Commission also asked candidates to voluntarily complete and submit an ethics questionnaire, and you did so on the 25th of May 2023. The Commission sent you 3 rounds of questions on 8 June, 19 June and 26 June respectively. You were asked a total number of 14 questions, including 44 subparts, and 27 of the questions included a request for further documentation. According to Article 3, Paragraph 4 of the Evaluation Rules of the Commission, a candidate may not provide information, documents or other materials during the hearing if the Commission requested these earlier and the candidate did not provide them within the time specified, unless of course the candidate provides sufficient justification. Members of the Commission will now start with asking you questions, and Nona Trattoria will start with asking questions. We will try to keep our questions short and to the point, and we ask you that your answers be short and to a point as well. Nona, you have the floor.
Thank you. Greetings, Mrs. Corcenco. The issue concerns source of funds of 10,000 euros deposited into your bank account and the source of funds deposited into your siblings' various bank accounts. On 2nd April 2010, you deposited 10,000 into your account at a Moldovan bank. On 29 July 2010, you withdrew this sum from your bank account. Also, on 12 March 2011, you deposited 500 euros into this account, which you withdrew 2 weeks later on 27 March 2011. In the second round of questions, the Commission asked you to explain the source of funds used in order to make these deposits into your bank account. In your answers to the Commission, you stated that this account had been opened in October 2009 under your name. You also noted that 10,000 euros that you had deposited into this account had belonged to your sibling, who had been working abroad since 2002. You stated that your sibling had not had the possibility to return to the Republic of Moldova for the purpose of opening a bank account. You indicated that this bank account had been closed in 2010 and the money returned to your sibling. Later, however, in March 2011, this account had been replenished with 500 euros, which was the amount for consular services. The funds were cashed out 2 weeks later and the account was closed again. You also indicated that this account had been inactive until December 2020 and that you were not aware that it was still open. You also noted that on 29 July 2010, 10,000 euros had been withdrawn from your bank account and deposited on the same day into your sibling's bank account. According to information available to the Commission, during the period 2010-2022, the total amount of money deposited into your siblings' bank accounts amounted to roughly 175,000 euros and roughly 395 Moldovan leis. In the second round of questions, the Commission asked you to explain the source of funds used by your sibling to make these deposits. You were asked to explain the purpose of each of these deposits. In your response to the Commission, you indicated that 395 Moldovan leis was the result of converting the sum of 20,200 euros, which had been deposited in euros, into your sibling's deposit account. According to bank data, on 31st December 2021, your sibling had one bank deposit account with a total balance of 406,000 Moldovan leis, which is roughly 20,500 euros. You also pointed out that some of the transactions indicated in the table provided by the Commission related to operations carried out automatically by the bank in the process of servicing the bank accounts. In the follow-up questions, you were asked to confirm that at the end of 2021, your siblings' deposit accounts amounted to roughly 20,500 euros. In your answers to the Commission, you indicated that total turnover in your siblings' bank account was 175,000 euros, which meaning that at the end of each deposit term, funds had been transferred from the bank account and then redeposited automatically. Hence, other than 20,200 euros deposit, there had not been any other deposits made into this account. A total balance of 406,000 Moldovan leis, roughly 20,500 euros, had been withdrawn in 2021, and during the following year, your sibling had two deposit accounts with funds totaling roughly 390,000 Moldovan leis and 17,000 Moldovan leis. In your answers to the Commission's questions regarding the source of funds used by your sibling to make these deposits, you noted that your sibling had been working in one of the European states since 2002 and that your sibling had been paying taxes in line with the existing legislation in that European state. You provided copies of the employment contracts of your sibling for the years 2009, 2011, and 2019, with the hourly rate indicated in the amount varying from 5.5 to 8 euros per hour. These documents do not indicate the total income that your sibling received while working abroad. In the third round of questions, the Commission asked you to provide confirmation documents regarding the income of your sibling abroad. In your answers to the Commission, you explained that you could not provide confirmatory documents from this European state because this information is protected under the privacy law. However, you provided some of the documents confirming the bank transfers made by your sibling. According to these documents, during the period of 2004-2007, your sibling had transferred the total sum of 17,000, including 5,000 euros in 2004, 3,000 in 2005, 5,000 in 2006, and 4,000 in 2007, from the European bank account to the bank account opened in Moldova. Now I'll begin by asking you some questions to establish the facts. Hopefully this can be answered with a yes or no response. Later I will ask you some questions that will seek greater detail or explanations from you. Let me also tell you that today you were furnished some of the documents, which includes also the table with the details of bank accounts, which you may need to look while I'll be asking some questions to you. So, question number one. In April 2010, you deposited 10,000 euros into your bank account in one of the Moldovan banks. On 29 July 2010, you withdrew this sum from your bank account. In March 2011, you deposited 500 euros into this account, which you withdrew 2 weeks later. Is that correct?
Yes, that's absolutely right.
Please confirm that this account was opened in October 2009 under your name.
Yes, the account was opened on that date, on the 2nd of October 2009.
Please confirm that the deposited amount of 10,000 euros belonged to your sibling who had been working in one of the European states since 2002.
Yes, the money belonged and belong to this day to my sister Ohotsky Violeta, who starting with 2002, and so far she's been working abroad in Italy. She works in Rome.
Remind you that in order to protect the privacy of your close persons, please keep the name out of your answers. Please confirm that deposited amount, please explain how you received the amount of 10,000 from your sibling. Was it transfer, cash, or in which way?
So, with regards to this matter, I would like to reiterate that starting with 2002, as I've already mentioned earlier, and to this day still, my sister lives abroad, she works abroad. She left in 2002 because of the precarious financial situation she was in at the time. Her husband was working abroad and he passed away, so she was widowed and she was supposed to take care of a dependent child, so it was not a very good situation. In 2002, she decided to go abroad and work there. At that time, as she had a child, Alexandrina, she was, I think, 6 years old, if I'm not mistaken. She was born in 1995, so she was 7. The child then was taken care of by my family. Our mother was of a more advanced age, and nevertheless, my sister decided that her daughter should stay with us as we were a little bit younger, and I had a daughter too, so it was decided that it would be easier for them to go to school and it would be better for her overall development. You realize that the grandmother, who was of a more advanced age, would have had a harder time with a 7-year-old child. In this context, I would like to reiterate as well that by leaving in 2002, by living abroad, she was there at a time when that state was just finishing off some actions related to the people who made it to Italy, to that country illegally. So it's just she was there a little bit later, and for that reason, she had to stay for 5 years illegally in that state. She had to work illegally there. She didn't have the required documentation to stay legally there, and nobody would want to enter into a labor agreement with her or with people who were illegally in that country. So at that time, that whole situation lasted for about 5 years, and out of lack of official documentation that would have otherwise allowed her to leave the country and then go back there, she was not able to travel to Moldova to see her child, to see her family. And that's because she did not have her papers. And after having stayed for 5 years there in that country, there was a second round of legalization for foreigners who were illegally in that country at that time. So in that second round, she managed to acquire documents that allowed her to stay legally in that country, that allowed her to travel home, to see her child and to see her family. So starting with, now speaking about 2002 plus 5, that would be 2007. So after 2007, she would travel regularly back home to see her child. And over this period of time, I mean the 5 years and afterwards, parcels have been are being sent from the country to Moldova, parcels that are being sent. There are all sorts of items that mothers send back to their children, and there's this remote relationship, and it used to be that every Wednesday there would be a parcel coming to Moldova, and thus money would be sent through the parcels, through the drivers. So that's how things worked. It's a pity that I have to admit to it, but this is happening in Moldova, this illiteracy, financial illiteracy, tax illiteracy, you may call it even, because to a great extent, our compatriots working abroad, they are using these services that are maybe not that legal, but they use them as a way to send to their family funds and other objects, items that they buy there. So the money was meant for the for taking care, for providing for her daughter. And when more of them were accumulated, when more money was accumulated, I was even afraid to keep all that money at home. So I decided to open a bank account. And actually, at that time, I went to the bank to put that money in a cell, in a security cell, in a safe box. I was thinking to keep that money there. At that time, however, the bank did not have such a service for its customers. So I found myself in a situation where I had to open a bank account so as not to expose money that was not mine to risk, because I wouldn't want to find myself in a situation where I had to return it out of my own pocket. Since in our family, our own family, I and my husband, we would have some disagreements over that, as in we were keeping at home some money that was not ours. So then I went to the bank to open the bank account, and I deposited the 10,000 euros that stayed there until my sibling returned. And as I said, you can see that the dates match. We went to the bank, I withdrew the money from my account, and on that same day and date and hour even, she deposited that money on an account that was opened under her name. And there was the thing about 40 euros. There's 10,000 and 40 euros. And the 40 euros is some interest rate that was accrued, because in Moldova, the interest is miserable for bank accounts in foreign currency. It was very bad back then, and to this day, the interest rate is not significant, let me call it that. Later, if you look at that bank account, now speaking about account 89808, there were some questions around it, and I had to answer them. So I'd like to tell you that those were some technical transactions, operations that were carried out by the staff of the bank. And these operations are not up to the customer. It's not whether the customer wants that to happen or not. As a customer, I go to the bank and I tell them what my issue is, and then they know what to do, to either close the account, open an account, to make some transfers. Speaking about account 89808. And with regards to the 174,210 euros, that is the bank turnover. But as for money on that account, the money there was 20,211 euros.
But I'll get to all those questions just little by little. So you partially already answered my question. I just want your confirmation. So you received 10,000 euros in several installments, and the money was delivered via buses and via transport routes. So this is what you state. What is your statement? Okay.
Yes, that is correct. I confirm that. Well, partially. I mean, perhaps there were some transfers that I've also annexed documentation for, but now I cannot say with absolute precision the amount now, as in that I received now 300 euros and then another day 400 euros, for instance. So this has been happening over a long time span, and there were little by little the money was coming in. Over there to earn this money, I guess it's also not easy to earn that money. I did not work abroad. I also was thinking about it, but then my sister told me, you won't make it. Just better stay in Moldova and find a job to do there. If I knew that I would one day stand in front of you, I would have kept very clear and precise records, I believe, of all the money I've ever received and all the parcels I've ever taken and the time and the date and all that. But I can certainly tell you that the parcels would arrive in Moldova on Wednesdays. And at about 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, when the bus or whatever vehicle it was, when it would come at the station, there were so many people, such a big crowd of people there coming to pick up their parcels. That's what things used to be like. I don't know how things are now. Her child grew up, she left, she's in Germany now, so I no longer receive parcels, and of course I don't even need them anymore, because look, now I have to give explanations about it. So I don't know how things are happening now, but back in the day, 10 years ago, that's how things used to happen. That is, as far as that country is concerned. I don't know how things work with other countries, but as far as Italy was concerned, that's how things worked.
Continue, and there will be some more questions, definitely, in that regard. You stated that your sibling had not had the possibility to return to Republic of Moldova for the purpose of opening a bank account, and that's why this amount was deposited into your account. You confirmed that? Yeah.
Yes.
And 10,440 euros was withdrawn from your bank account on 20 July 2010 and was deposited into your sibling's bank account on the same day. Is that correct? So
Yes, that is correct. I confirm that, and I'm ready to undersign these statements that I made.
According to information available to the Commission, your sibling's bank account on which the amount of 10,440 euros was deposited was opened on 21st February 2005. If you could look at the table that we provided to you, this is bank account number 2. Can you help? I mean, Konstantin, this table. Okay. So could you please confirm that? So do you want me to repeat the question? So according to
Da, vă rog că nu am auzit.
Please do.
Okay, according to information available to the Commission, your sibling's bank account on which the amount of 10,040 euros was deposited was opened on 21st February 2005. Is that correct?
Deci,
I have a bank statement. My bank account, so a statement of my bank account. I have a statement of my bank account. However, as regards her, I don't know when exactly she opened that account, the one that ends with 808. So the amount of 10,000 euros that we are talking about, it appeared on my account in 2009, on the 2nd of October 2009. And the money was cashed out, was withdrawn on the 29th of July 20, I can't remember now, 2010. So in the questions that I was asked, that account ending in 808 was opened on the 29th of July 2010. I can support that because this bank statement was also sent to you. So the 10,000 euros from my bank account. There's the supporting documentation. In 2009, the 2nd of October 2009, she might have carried out some other transactions using that account. I cannot provide an explanation as to that because I was not able to obtain information from the bank with regards to this bank account. Nobody at the bank would give me this sort of information. However, considering the rounds of questions that I answered, there was question number 4. And there is this account ending in 89808. And that is under the name of my sibling. And the date it was opened on 29th of July 2010. That is a date that matches the date of 29th of July 2010, which reflects the date on which money was withdrawn from my bank account that ends with 657. So the history of transactions is corroborated by the activity of my relative, of my siblings, so 2009, 2010. As for other details as to what might have happened, what transactions my sibling could have carried out using that account, I cannot provide any explanation as to that. So I would like to repeat. My bank account opened on the 2nd of October 2009, was closed along with the withdrawal of the funds on the 29th of July 2010. The date and the amount that went to the amount that went to my siblings' account was on the 29th of July 2010. During the rounds, I provided statements of my bank account. I have the statement here with me now, and for these 2 items that we're talking about, we can see clearly, at least that's how I can see it. I see it clearly. I don't know if the members of the commission see, but you can see when the money was withdrawn and when the money was deposited on that account. As for a different history of transactions related to this account, I don't know about that, and I couldn't have obtained that information because the banks in Moldova, including the tax administration, the customs service, because I filed an application trying to confirm when my sibling entered the country and left the country, and these entities did not communicate that to me as a third party. So they would only communicate that information to a person X that is specifically concerned and asking information about themselves, not to third parties though.
The issue concerns the date of opening of your sibling's bank account, and according to information that we have and that was provided by the tax services, your sibling had opened bank account in 2005. That's why I try to understand why you told the Commission that she could not return to Moldova for opening an account if she already had one in 2005, and if so, why it was necessary to deposit this amount into your account. This is the issue we try to clarify, so if you can provide any explanation in that regard.
I try to reach you and explain you. She has not been in the country for 5 years. How she opened her account in 2005, I just can't explain. I don't know, and it's not under my competence to explain this situation. But certainly, I reiterate, she left the country in 2002, September or August. She has not been in the country for 5 years. Again, I repeat, I made a request towards the border police to obtain this information, but the border police did not or cannot issue me such information. Moreover, even the financial situation of my relative was not a topic of our discussion. For someone who works abroad and for someone who stays in the country, and if they start talking about that topic, that's painful, believe me. For the ones who have relatives working abroad, they probably understand me. I really have no moral right to ask her, and I have never asked her about her financial matters. We discussed this topic only now when in the context of a pre-vetting.
Okay, thank you. We may follow up on this question later on, but thank you for your answer.
Cu mare drag.
Yeah. Please confirm that the Commission asked you about the source of funds which your sibling had used in order to deposit roughly 175,000 euros and roughly 395,000 Moldovan leis into the bank account during the period 2010-2022.
Explic, în acest cont nu au
I explain and I explain again. It wasn't 174,000 euros entered into that account.
Questions on that? I just need confirmation that we asked you this question.
Da,
Yes, you asked.
Answers to the Commission, you noted that 175 euros had been the total turnover in your siblings' bank accounts. More specifically, it was the sum of all the transactions made, and these transactions were automatically carried out by the bank in the process of servicing the bank accounts. Thus, at the end of each deposit term, funds were transferred from the bank account and then redeposited automatically. Is that correct?
Yes, that's perfectly correct.
You confirmed that at the end of 2021, your siblings' deposit accounts had amounted to roughly 406,000 Moldovan leis, which is approximately 20,500 euros, and that no other deposits had been made into your siblings' account. Is that correct?
No, that's probably a mistake. It wasn't 25, it was 20,000, because 400,000 is the equivalent of.
If I incorrectly
Nu
mentioned the
puteam eu
name,
să
this is
admit.
20,
Maybe I made that mistake.
but it is roughly 406,000 Moldovan leis. Okay, good. You also explained that roughly 20,200 euros, which had been on your siblings' deposit account, had been converted into Moldovan leis. Therefore, roughly 395,000 Moldovan leis was the equivalent of 20,200 euros. Is that correct?
Yes, perfectly right.
As you have already confirmed, in April 2010, you deposited 10,040 euros into your account, claiming that this was the money of your sibling that who could not return to Moldova to open an account. In response to the Commission's question regarding the source of funds used by your sibling in order to make these deposits, you provided copies of the employment contracts of your sibling for the years 2009, 11, and 19, with the hourly rate indicated in the amount varying from 5.5 to 8 euros per hour. Is that correct?
Yes, I submitted 3 contracts. One contract was 10 hours per week. I would like to specify that the contract or the payment is fixed per week, not per month. One contract was about 25 hours a week at the price of 5.5 euros. Another contract was about 10 hours per week at a price of 8 euros, and another contract 380 euros per month. In this context, I would like to mention that she is working based on a contract that she gets 8 euros for 10 hours, and she also lives in that house. and her living expenses are covered by the family, meaning that she does not pay for rent and other living costs. So, and for the work, she probably some calculation was done, and she does not get 1,000 euros, she gets less, making a difference, a subtraction for accommodation and living expenses. So she does not have another dwelling. She lives with the family where she works.
We are mostly concerned with the contract for 2009 because this is the year which precedes the deposit accounts, because 2011 and 2019, it's after the deposit was made. So we particularly are focused on 2009 contract. And can you estimate how much your sibling earned before 2009, and if you have any confirmation documents on for 2009, or as you explained, actually she was illegally there. So could you please explain?
I will explain. Not in 2009, not in 2019, not in 2021. I have never discussed the financial topic with my sister because it is a delicate topic, a sensitive topic. Even though we are sisters, we did not discuss, we have never discussed this. So if I were to say here in front of you that she was earning 300, 500, or 1,000, that's difficult for me to say, and I would not be correct towards myself and towards my sister saying that. The money she earned, very hard work in a foreign country, that's what I can say. Microphone, please, Nona. By the way, I can say in this respect that she filed documents to get citizenship of that country, and to do that, it is necessary to have an average yearly income of at least 8,000–9,000 euros. So she certainly meets this criterion for applying for the citizenship of the country.
You provided documents to the Commission showing that during the period 2004–2007, your sibling had transferred 17,000 euros from a bank account opened in one of the European states to the bank account in Moldova. Is that correct?
Da.
Yes.
Please explain if this bank account was your sibling's bank account, if so, when it was opened.
Do you mean the bank account in Moldova?
You provided
Contul bancar.
Or the bank account in the respective country?
Documents showing that during the period of 2004 and 2007, your sibling transferred 17,000 from a bank account opened in one of the European states to the bank account in Moldova. So actually, this is the document that you provided to the Commission. And if you see the table, this is bank account number 1. So in this table, this is bank account number 1.
Da.
Yes.
Any information about when this bank account was opened, or when it was closed, anything at all in relation with this bank account?
Nu.
No. I have no information about that bank account. These copies of the transfers I found accidentally when I was cleaning around the library. So I was looking for some literature to read, on my free time, and absolutely accidentally I found these documents, and I have the original documents here. And I was actually very surprised, to be honest. How did it happen that these documents were kept? So I can't say anything else about this account, under what circumstances it was opened, when it was opened or when it was closed. I can't say anything about it.
Explain how the amount of 17,000 deposited into your siblings' account is linked to the funds found on your siblings' account, another account, to 10,000. So how those two amounts are interrelated?
So, looking at the beginning, the first amount was 10,000 that was transferred from my account to her account that we were discussing about. Over time, when she was coming with some money. I really can't say anything about these economic and financial matters that were related to that account, because my relationship with my sister at that time, 29th of July 2010, was stopped once this amount was transferred, that was taken from my account and transferred to her account. That's all. So we did not ever have any other discussions about money, about these financial matters. But certainly in Moldova, you can come having amounts of 4, 5, up to 10,000 euros. So I just presume that when she was coming on vacation in summertime, she was bringing some money with her. And maybe she was spending some, depositing some out of that money. I did not manage that account. And if you have some information from the bank, I know that over the last 2 or 3 years, she's leaving a proxy to someone to manage that account, because the bank has some very strict accounts. So if today, July 14, the loan contract is over, you have obligation to conclude another contract on that very same day. So the bank is not doing it like plus or minus 1 day. If you terminate the contract, the deposit 1 day earlier, then the bank will withdraw your interest gathered. So I know, again, over the last 2, 3 years, she's issuing a proxy on someone's name in order to manage these funds. And the proxy is not on my name. It's another person who helps her to manage this account. And here, you know, among us Moldovans, there's a saying: it's better not to have any business deals among relatives because things don't end well. Always where you have financial matters, it will end up in a quarrel. So for this reason, I'm saying again, my relationship with my sister and with this 10,000 euros was over at that point. I helped you as much as I could with that money. I transferred it for you, and we have never discussed about financial issues anymore. Especially since her daughter was growing up, she was reaching the age of majority, she could manage these things without my contribution.
Clarify, this 17,000 was transferred to Moldova between the period of 2004-2007, and this is well before the amount was deposited into your account. So it seems that this 17,000 was, so last transfer was made in 2007, and there was already 17,000 in the account, which you apparently don't know exists. So the 10,000, is this part of 17,000 or it's additional amount? And what
The 10,000 have nothing to do with those transfers. These 10,000 was money that was sent step by step, gradual, until that amount was gathered up. I did not even have a proxy. I could not take that money, withdraw that money. I was not involved in managing these, the money of my relative. I was not involved in managing her financial resources.
You say that 17,000 and 10,000, they are separate amounts.
Da.
Yes.
I think this is my question. If there's anything you wish to add or clarify?
Deci eu vreau
In this context, I would like to go back to those amounts and reiterate in that context that the account, the one with 20,000 euros, was closed on 16th of August 2021, and that amount in foreign currency was converted. So this account currently is closed. It does not exist anymore. And because of the inflation that happened in Moldova, the banks increased the interest rate related to deposits. So in 2022, in 2022, the interest rate was very advantageous for deposits in national currency. At some point, it was like even 15 or 17%. So it was much more favorable to you to keep your money in banking institutions of Moldova in national currency compared to foreign currency. Because when she was keeping money in the foreign currency, she was getting an interest rate that was very low. And she decided to convert the 20,000 euros into Moldovan lei, where she was getting a substantial interest rate. And if we multiply 400,000 to 17%, you get more than 4,000 lei per month. That is 200 euros per month. And then 200 times 12, that is 2,400 euros interest per year, which was much better. And currently, she has only that account, where she has 394,251 lei. The 20,211 euros account is closed. I don't know if it is deleted from the banking system or not, because that's another question. When you withdraw your money, the bank should entirely close your account and delete it. But I also encountered, like, you know, the question that we will discuss. You withdraw your money, the bank account closes your account but does not delete it from the system, and you are just staying at home thinking that your account is deleted, does not exist, but it is somewhere there in the bank's database, closed but not terminated.
Colleagues who would like to have questions? No? If that is not the case, then I would like to give you now oh, sorry, yeah, Maria, go ahead.
Madam Corcenco, I just want to clarify if I understood it correctly. So you knew about the transfers your sister was making towards the Republic of Moldova. So you knew that she was making transfers until 2009. Did I understand that correctly, or you did not know? I found out about that information now. I can, like 1 month ago. After the questions? Yes, after the pre-vetting questions, when I received them, and I said, okay, let me search through the paperwork in the cabinets that I have. And this is how I found these documents. I actually did not know about the transfer. Or maybe I knew, but at that time, but I didn't pay any attention because those were account-to-account transfers, and it was none of my business. When she came on the 29th of July 2010, and you went together to the bank, and you withdrew the 10,000 and deposited on her account, did I understand correctly? You mentioned in the written answers, I think based on information from your sister, because she opened her account at when, was this your agreement or is this what you understood from the bank documents? You should understand that we didn't even meet at my place or her place because we live in different places. I just called her and we agreed that on the 29th of July we go to the bank. We met at the bank, we went to the desk, I withdrew the money and I gave her the money. And she stayed there to deposit the money on her account. And this is where our paths split. So your understanding that your sister opened the bank account on 29th of July 2010 results from where? Well, we went to the bank together. She took the money. She could not keep that amount in her home because she was living in a short period of time. So she could not leave the money here to my parents or to her children. So she put them on a bank account. Today you are saying that you are making reference to a document that this is written. I just understand that you understood that from the document that the bank provided, or did you understand back then in 2010 that she opened an account? I understood that back in 2010, and I said that these records are confirming that. Last question. She did not come to Moldova until 2007, correct? Yes. Is this sure? Was it possible for her to come and for you not to know? She could not because her child was living with me. I was bringing the child up, and back then there was a huge wave of immigration and people going to work, and I believe that country, when it saw that they have many foreigners, they decided, and well, how did they decide? From what I remember, they were said that until the 1st of September, they can all get their documents right. She was unlucky to get into the country a bit later, and it was like a matter of a couple of weeks or a month. So she did not fall under that law that was passed at national level that allowed them to legalize their situation and documents. So then she had to stay as long as a new law would have been issued by the government of the state to allow for a second wave of legalizing the foreigners that entered into the country. So then she left with 2,000 euros for this, if I don't know how to call that, so-called long-term excursion. I understood that. So after staying for so much time there, she wanted to make her documents legal so that she could be able to travel. You know, but you said that she has now a person, that she issued a proxy who handles her bank account in Moldova. Do you know if that agreement with that person, the proxy, was issued recently, or was it possible for her to have issued it back in 2002? No, I know that last year she issued a proxy of this kind because I was a bit upset with her and I said, how can you allow a third party to handle your bank accounts? Because, well, this is money in the end. And she said, no problem, I issued not a general proxy, but strictly for certain operations. And she will handle just closing the account or opening, extending the contract term and something like that. Last question, but since 2007, I understand she was coming regularly to Moldova. Yes, she was. So and she's coming soon, I think she said. So she could have opened a bank account before this 2009 deposit when she was coming, or you don't know at all if she had a bank account then? I can't answer that question again. We did not discuss her financial matters. Moreover, well, being younger than me, she stayed with my parents. And she was handling her matters together with a mother, living in the same household. I was living elsewhere in another community, so we did not discuss the financial matters at all. Thank you. I have no more questions.
I don't see there any other colleagues asking any questions. I would like to give you now the opportunity to make a brief closing statement, so please go ahead.
I would like to tell you, like strictly with respect to my relative's bank account, I had no connection with that bank account. Until 1 or 2 weeks ago, when the second round of questions came in, I did not discuss before that with my relative about her financial matters because, when I saw this table and I saw 174,000 euros, I immediately called her and said, listen, do you have 174,000 euros? And she said, well, if the bank gives me tomorrow 174,000 euros, I come back to Moldova and I will never work again. So because I'm 52 years old now, and that amount would be enough for the rest of my life and for a very nice funeral as well. Again, maybe you did not get the desired answers, but the financial topics were never discussed by me and my sister, except for when this money was given and that transfer, or transmitting that amount. Each of us has their own household and their own financial resources. You know, we are siblings when you were living with our parents, but when each of us gets their own family, we are separate, with separate money, separate needs, and so on.
With this, we come to the end of the hearing. I thank you for your submissions and answers to all our questions. The Commission will now withdraw for deliberations, and as much as possible, the Commission will strive at delivering a decision within a month, within the date after the date of this hearing. I hereby declare the hearing closed, and thank you again for your cooperation and being here with us today. Thank you.